O-Y. Let's ride. What are you doing?
So Jake is new to I don't know if Jake has ever seen the intro before, but that was Shine Down Cut the Cord, the instrumental for it. Shine Down is one of my all-time favorite bands. I mentioned this time and time again.
They're very good. That was a lot of fun to watch.
I'm glad. All right. Anyway, welcome to Four Square Sports episode 22, Game On. And there's only one reason for that. We have a Game 7 in the World Series, which will be the first thing we get into. But we also got college football. We got some hockey. We got some basketball. The in-season tournament started, whether you like it or not. And mostly some NFL news in regards to the spread picks as well as what happened in Miami. We got our panel here. Alec Nava is busy, but obviously he will be missed, and he's always part of the crew as always. But anyway, Kevin Zelenskovic, Jon Welch, and hanging with us for tonight is a good friend of ours. He is from Talking Sports with Jake on Twitter. You can find him at CardiJake3152. Please tell me if I'm right.
Yep, that's correct.
Awesome. The one and only Jake Cardinale. Jake, welcome.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for having me. So excited.
Oh, we can't wait to have you on. We can't wait for the show, man. And now, full disclosure, for those of you who have seen me on Instagram, I'm not going astray for a fourth time. It was fun while it lasted, but it had to stop at 3. The house parties, karaoke nights, Atlantic City. I just got back from Atlantic City. Enough is enough. So we're going to start things off with Major League Baseball. We have a massive Game 7 between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays in said Game 7. And news just came out earlier today that Shohei Ohtani will be taking the mound for the Dodgers. And I believe, if I'm correct, I haven't heard anything from the Blue Jays camp as far as Max Scherzer is still going to be the guy tonight or not. I'm assuming he is. But the Blue Jays had a massive opportunity to put the series away last night. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's been electric this postseason, continues to impress. 3-1 victory for the Dodgers to force this scenario. Now, the last time we had a Game 7 in the World Series, 2019. What was that World Series? The Washington Nationals beat the Houston Astros. So, obviously a lot on the line here. Game 7, we discussed this before. There's a lot of implications in the future for Major League Baseball as far as the CBA agreement and a possible salary cap or salary floor, depending on how you look at it. I'm going to come to our guest of honor first, Jake. So, this Game 7 is absolutely massive. I know our good friend Randy Couray is probably eyeing this like crazy, and so is our good friend David Smith Armchair. What do you think has to be done for the Blue Jays to win, and what do you think Los Angeles has to do in return?
Toronto has to get to their bullpen. I said it on my show that I do. I said it to people off camera. If Toronto gets to the Dodgers bullpen, they will win the series. That bullpen is really, really rough. I don't know how that bullpen even got to the World Series. Well, I do.
Right.
Because of how good that rotation is. But Shohei Ohtani starting. Glasnow had to come in and pitch that last inning. I think he pitched. He threw like 2 pitches. Also, Joe Davis was talking about it. I think if Ohtani comes in out of the bullpen, they would have to put him in the field, and they lose the DH in order to keep his bat in there. So it's something weird. If he starts, they can just move him to DH, which is what they've been doing since last year. So I think that's part of it. But if they can knock him out of the game early and get to Glasnow, maybe in the 3rd or the 4th inning opposed to the 5th or the 6th inning, maybe, Now, at some point, they're going to have to use a guy like maybe Will Klein
Mm.
or Hernandez or somebody like that. It's going to be interesting. Does Blake Snell get an inning? He threw 116 pitches 3 days ago. Does he get an inning? I don't know. The Dodgers side of things, they need to get a couple of runs early. Okay.
Yes.
They got to get a couple of runs early. Max is 41 years old. In terms of big game pitchers, I think he's the big game pitcher of his generation.
Mm-hmm.
You have Clayton Kershaw, Justin Verlander, but in a big game, when that guy was at his peak, I wanted Max Scherzer. But that's not the same Max Scherzer. He's 41 years old. He didn't finish the regular season very well. This is only his third start of the postseason. If they can get to him early, and they've scored early through a lot of this postseason.
Yes.
Offense actually hasn't been that great throughout the postseason, even heading into the playoffs.
Right.
So they've kind of fizzled out as the games have gone on, which is obviously very surprising. Just look at that lineup. I mean, they're like 6 or 7 hitters. Max Muncy, that guy's a 30 homer threat. So I think both teams kind of similar. But I think the Dodgers got to get a couple runs early, and if you're Toronto, you got to get Ohtani out of the game as soon as possible. Also, like, this is something they usually do. Work the count. He's on 4 days rest. He hasn't pitched season. Obviously, he has to be kind of, I hate this term. I know we're going to talk about it later. He kind of gets load managed a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The pitches that he hits, but this year because he didn't pitch last year because of the elbow injury. So if they can get to him early, that's I think they'll win actually if they get to him early.
Interesting. Now, the last time Ohtani took the mound in Game 4, the Blue Jays got 4 runs on Ohtani, and then they got 2 runs on one of their relievers. I think it was Anthony Bandon that they got 2 runs on. That was a 6-2 game in Game 4. Game 5, obviously they went back to Savage, and Savage was dominant that game. 12 strikeouts in 7 innings, 1 run allowed, which is kind of very similar to what Cam Schlittler did, except a little less impressive. But anyway, Kevin, you can expect that everything in the kitchen sink will be thrown tonight from both teams because there's no other game. This is it. Now, as far as who you're looking at to shine from both ball clubs, who do you think has to shine on the Blue Jays, and who do you think has to shine on the Dodgers? Jake mentioned it before, get to the bullpen early as far as Toronto is concerned, and for the Dodgers, try to score some runs early. Who can supply that energy, those offensive runs for both teams?
Well, I mean, for the Dodgers, I feel like you have to look at Mookie Betts because I don't think he's had a good postseason at all and a good World Series at all in this series. I mean, he's batting .239, which is absolutely not his caliber. He's much better than the .239 average. So I think he needs to come out swinging, no pun intended, in this Game 7 if the Dodgers want to come out on top. And as for the Blue Jays, I mean, everyone top to bottom in the lineup has been pretty good. I would like to see a little bit more out of Alejandro Kirk. I know he's been clutched like early on in this series, but like late in the series, I feel like he could start to pick up a bit. So maybe Kirk for Toronto's case. But yeah, I'm in agreement with Jake here. I feel like you got to get to Ohtani early if you're Toronto, if you want to have any chance of closing it out tonight. And like you said, that they completely rocked Ohtani in Game 4, and if they want to have any chance of winning tonight, they got to do the same again tonight. Max Scherzer. I mean, I know Max Scherzer is It's good. It's a great matchup, by the way. Ohtani against Scherzer, Hall of Fame pitcher versus Hall of Fame pitcher. I think all hands are on deck tonight for both teams, especially in the Dodgers case, because we know now that Yamamoto is probably going to be available like late in the game, because I know he pitched last game and pitched great, but like even Coach Dave Roberts said like he's said he's ready to go like whenever he need be. So like if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, you want to make sure you don't even see him at all in the game. So that's why I think you got to get to the starters early. And I don't know how many innings that Dave Roberts is going to give Ohtani, but I would imagine he's probably going to give a lot of guys looks and probably going to throw all of the starters. Maybe Glass now for an inning or two, like Jake said. We don't know, but like I think we're going to see an interesting bullpen mix of both teams, and we're probably going to see a lot of starters on both sides.
Now, the one starter I think the Dodgers should lean away from, and it's funny because this was a point that was brought up by one of our Canadian friends. The one starter that I think the Blue Jays would love to see again is Blake Snell. Blake Snell, this World Series, got rocked both games. And part of the reason for that is because Blake Snell used to pitch for the Tampa Bay Rays, and they were the rival for the Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays know him very, very well. So I think you lean a little bit less on Blake Snell, and then maybe, Glass not only threw 2 pitches, get him in there. And I think Yamamoto, I know he pitched really well last night, but if you need him, if it's a dire situation, put him in there. Yeah. And the Dodgers bullpen, I mean, they're not as good as I thought the Blue Jays bullpen was better than the Dodgers bullpen, and they've proven it so far this series. But I think you guys said it. We're probably going to see all starters from both teams if possible. Now, John, I'm going to come to you next. When it comes to the Blue Jays and the Dodgers, regardless of who wins this World Series, well, in either scenario, whoever wins, who would you say is World Series MVP at this point?
Can I say the Wall?
I guess you could say. Oh my God.
That's all I've seen today is Blue Jays fans and Dodgers fans both talking about that obscure rule and subbing a defensive player in who knows the rules, threw his hands up right away.
Yep.
And everybody has to go back to their base. It's like a dead ball foul in NFL. The Dodgers need the Dodger Stadium to get really loud. One of my favorite World Series of all time, Gibson, who could not run, hit a walk-off home run.
I remember that 1988, I believe.
Yeah, Oral Hershiser, Kirk Gibson. That's the kind of scenario the Dodgers are at this point. They need somebody to kill the Blue Jays with a home run early. The stadium needs to get loud because I don't think the pitching is going to be there tonight. And I think the odds-on favorite has to be the Blue Jays, as Kevin has been saying this entire time. As far as MVP, that's tough. I would say probably the Blue Jays bullpen, just shutting the Dodgers down.
Now that's a good one. I'd pick a pitcher too for World Series MVP. Now keep in mind this game is in Canada. It's going to be in the Rogers Center. Whether or not Randy Couray goes there, he'll probably be hanging out at a bar outside the stadium, whatever the case may be. Randy, we're pulling for you. But anyway, as far as the pitchers, I like Trey Savage in the way he's been performing this postseason, especially in this World Series. Like this kid has been awesome, to say the least. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Blue Jays win that maybe he gets that honor. Jake, same question. Who do you think is World Series MVP at this point?
I think if Toronto wins, you got to give it to Vlad. I mean, the guy's hitting 400 in this playoffs.
Yep.
It's hard not to. Ashton Barger is also right there. He's hitting 500 this series. He's had a great postseason. Savage would be the pitcher that I'd pick, but I really think it's got to go to Vlad. If the Dodgers win, I really think it's Yamamoto. They've been relatively quiet offensively, not maybe outside of Shohei Ohtani. Kevin mentioned Mookie Betts has been almost a ghost. He had a big hit last night, but other than that, not a whole lot. Freddie Freeman hasn't jumped up the page, nor has Will Smith or Teoscar or any of those guys. I really think it's Yamamoto. He threw a complete game in Game 3. He was really good, especially if he comes in tonight and gives him an inning or two. Maybe he closes it out. We've seen that before. So I think if a Dodgers wins, it's got to be Yamamoto. Also, Ohtani does something crazy.
Oh, my God. First off, that man went 4 for 4 with 2 homers and 2 doubles in Game 3. Kev, same question. Where do you think you would lean?
Yeah, I'm the same thing with Jake here. I feel like if Dodgers win, you got to give it to Yamamoto. I mean, he's been lights out this entire postseason, not just in this World Series. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see him for maybe an inning or two late in the game tonight. Toronto, I feel like it's kind of got to give it to Vlad. I mean, he's been very, very good, consistently good this entire postseason and in the series. And I really like Savage too. I mean, this kid, like you got to remember, this kid was starting the season in High A and then is pitching every single minor league level and is pitching in the World Series like that. And he has been so good, like in this World Series. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it. But I know that they don't necessarily love to always give the MVP to a pitcher. They love to give it to a position player. But I feel like you got to give it to Vlad in that case if it's Toronto. But if it's for the Dodgers, I don't see any reason you can't give it to Yamamoto because of how lights out he has been. So same thing.
You mentioned Savage's journey. He made his major league debut in mid-September. He came in very late in the regular season, and to see what he's been doing this postseason, it's actually kind of wild. But like you said, he went from High A and to a bunch of other minor league affiliates to now being great on the biggest stage of baseball. Now, as far as Game 7 is concerned, the under and over is 7.5 runs. If you know me by now, I'm all about the spreads and I'm all about the unders and overs. 7.5. I see. When I was in Atlantic City last night, I was told by a certain person, bet the over 8 runs yesterday. Well, thank God I didn't listen because that was a 3-1 that went way under. But this World Series has been incredible. We had the 18-inning game in Game 3. Admittedly, I only watched 11 of those innings because I mean, seriously, on a Tuesday night. Oh no, it was a Monday night. A Monday night, 2:30 in the morning. Go to sleep. When we have work the next morning, I mean, not ideal. Not ideal.
Not
like that's the one. That's the one time I will admit I have not seen a complete game. Okay, but there's a fair reason for it. Like I said, Game 1 and 2 were both kind of lopsided. Game 4 was all Blue Jays. Game 5 was all Blue Jays. Game 6, the Dodgers took over off a really confusing double play. I mean, you mentioned the wall. John mentioned the wall, forcing the ground rule double and having both runners go back to base. And then infield pop up 1 out. And then Kike Hernandez made a running double play and then tied the runner out at second. That, to me, you got to have better awareness as a base runner.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I don't know what Addison Barter was doing. Like, as someone who's played baseball, I've been around baseball for a lot of my life.
Yeah.
He's not scoring on that play. The ball is hit too hard and it's too shallow. He's not going to score. In fact, especially since it's in left field, I don't even know if he can get to third base.
No.
I don't know. I don't know where he's going. I know there was a sinking line drive. It is a tough play as a base runner, but I don't know what he was doing on that play, to be honest.
It was a very confusing mistake. And I talked to a friend of mine earlier today about that. And he said, well, you can't blame him because he's probably going on instinct. Oh, I got to score. I got to advance the runner, yada, yada. Because in a situation like that, less than 2 out, you're thinking, okay, we got to go. But it wasn't hit deep enough. And Kike Hernandez hustled for that ball. It was kind of like, and John will know where this is going. When the Mariners played the Astros late in the regular season, you saw Victor Robles make a diving catch like he was Superman in the outfield. And then Jake Myers didn't get back to second in time, and that forced the double play. So it's something similar like that. And apparently Bryce Harper had the same blunder years ago. So it's about awareness and, instinct. That's really what it comes down to in that situation. Now, we have another story in Major League Baseball, and this is something that I kind of want to get into. So the Tennessee Volunteers in 2024 were the NCAA baseball champions. And Tony Vitello was riding high with that Volunteer team, and now he's taking his talents to the Major League Baseball level. The San Francisco Giants signed him to a contract. He'll be their new manager. He won the Men's College World Series in 2024, and I guarantee you LSU fans were not drinking gel shots that day. But Tony Vitello, I love the hire. Very smart, very savvy manager, especially in the collegiate mind. I think it's going to be a hard transition, but I think the Giants made a good hire here. John, would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you have a team that is kind of scrounging, and they're trying to figure out, are they going to keep the players that they've got and try to build around that? And I think this is a good decision for that direction.
Kevin, what would you say about that?
Yeah, it was an interesting hire when the news broke out, and I feel like Tony Vitello brings that pedigree that he had with Tennessee, and I think he can translate that to the MLB level. But like you said, it's going to be a rough transition at first. I think it'll take some time for him to mesh well and to see how he handles the MLB level. But yeah, I like the hire as well.
One thing that I've noticed about the collegiate level and the baseball and the MLB level, you don't see aluminum bats being used at the major league level. That's one thing that I've noticed about the collegiate ranks. They use aluminum bats, which is why you see these batting averages for these collegiate kids at like the high 350s, low 400s. Like, it's actually kind of crazy. So I think that's going to be something that he's going to have to get used to. Tennessee was one of the best offenses in baseball under Tony Vitello. Jake, what would you say about the hire?
So regardless if it fails or not, this is a very groundbreaking hire. We have not seen a college baseball coach go directly from being in college to be a manager in the big leagues. We've seen guys like Pat Murphy was a college manager. He was, but in between, he was a bench coach for like a decade before he got, probably more than that, before he got a shot to be a manager with the Brewers last year. And obviously that's worked, but we've never seen the guy just go directly to being a manager. So this is a groundbreaking hire. On the surface, it looks like a pretty good hire. There are a couple of players that he coached that are on the Giants. Like Tidwell is one of them.
Yep.
They got him in the Tyler Rogers trade from the Mets. He's a young starting pitcher who I think pitched at the very end of the year for the Giants.
Yep.
So he was at Tennessee for a while. He had a lot of success. You mentioned he won a championship last year. They've been one of the best baseball programs in the world for a long time. College and pros are so different. College, it's a little different than with NIL. It used to be like in college, you were like the man because the kids weren't making any money. You made more money than everybody else. You pick up players. Now, some of these guys might be making the same or a little more than the coaches. Depends on the sport and where you are.
Right.
But it's still a big difference. He can't exactly pick the players. That being said, in terms of how good of a hire it is, obviously the president of baseball operations is now Buster Posey.
Yep.
He came in last year. He's made some big moves. He made the Rafael Devers trade. It hasn't worked so far.
Yeah.
For a team, you won a couple championships. You won 3 in 6 years. Most recent was 2014 over Kansas City.
Correct.
Since then, nothing really. You've made the playoffs a couple of times. You maybe have a series win or two. But other than that, you've been a pretty mediocre ball club. Way too much talent in that ball club to be, a 500 team last year. That's just not good enough. I think at least I had a feeling it was not going to be a big name. I had a feeling Buster was going to go to someone that he truly trusted and maybe somebody that he knows personally. I thought like a guy like Nick Hundley might get the job because that was his backup when he played at the end of his career with the Giants. But he went the college route. That guy knows baseball really well, and I think on the surface it's a good hire, but just obviously remains to be seen. It's just so groundbreaking. We have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, we've never seen a collegiate manager make this kind of leap. We've seen it in other sports, in basketball and football for sure, but not really with baseball. That's why I think this is big. And you mentioned Buster Posey, former player for the Giants, nonetheless. He wants to make a splash. He wants the big PR moves to put the Giants on notice. And you mentioned the Devers trade didn't work out. They missed the playoffs. So they're going to try and Posey's going to try and do everything he can to put this Giants team on the map, make them more noticed, and I think this is the way to do it. Now, Tony Patel is a really sharp mind, but you also have to realize you're in the same divisions as the Dodgers, and that's a big-time rivalry in California. So we'll see how that works. Now, throughout the show, we will give you updates on the World Series Game 7 because obviously, we'll be talking about other things, but we'll give you little updates here and there. And if there is an update, we won't have a CNN sound effect, but we will have this. So if you get an update, it's update alert. There we go. That's it. So if anything happens, we will give you an update alert ASAP. So, but it's amazing. Baseball has ended. It's November 1st. I remember it was just yesterday. We were just talking about Major League Baseball to begin the season, how the Yankees were going to win the World Series, and look how that turned out.
For the record, when the season started, I wasn't saying World Series at all because, how could you say that? Like whenever we lost Soto and all that. But I thought getting Fried was cool. I was thinking it's possible, but I don't think we're gonna win it. That's what I was thinking going into it. But now, going into next year, I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen because I don't trust. I already said I don't trust Cashman, Boone, or Steinbrenner. But I think that's for a different day. So,
can we get them out of here, please? Can we get them out of here, please?
Oh my dude, both Boone and Cashman should have been fired like years ago, in 2019 or something. They should have been fired, both of them.
I would say 2019 because that was where we found out about the Astro scandal. Where Alzell Tuve didn't want to take his shirt off after hitting a walk-off home run. But who am I to judge about that one?
2021 is when they lost to Boston. That
was a fireable game.
That was probably
that too.
Yeah. All right. Well, baseball, we love you. We'll get back to you in probably February when we're close to season. But now we got to get back to the NBA. The in-season tournament has started last night, which is a pretty big treat, I guess you could say, in the Halloween sense of the word. Now, full disclosure, the in-season tournament, I don't like it. I think it's a little silly. I think it's another incentive for players to play and probably not sit players out because that extra $700K, you got to make that money, right? But I don't know. I just don't feel it. Anyway, we had several games last night that went. First off, I got to say that the Philadelphia Sixers suffered their first loss against the Boston Celtics. The Pacers dropped to 0-5, surprising, but no Tyrese Halliburton. That's part of the problem. The Bulls beat the Knicks 135-125. I got two Knicks fans here. Can only imagine how that's going to go. Lakers won 117-112. Blazers won 109-107. I guess you could say that Chauncey Billups stepping down and taking time off for dealing with the court, I guess, is helping him and the team. But
prison.
oh yeah, exactly. Assuming he doesn't go to prison. The Suns knocked off the Jazz. Jazz are awful, and then the Clippers beat the Pelicans, who are also on 5. Now, I know we have two Knicks fans in here. You got Mitch Robinson back, and you got, I think, another player or two back. But the Knicks fall short in this in-season game. The Bulls look really good to begin the year. They're 5-0. But I got to come to Kevin. What is going wrong with the Knicks at this point in the year?
I mean, they started off the season okay. I'm like they went 2-0 against the Cavs and Celtics, two teams I'm sure that they're going to be facing a lot. And I know the Cavs are probably going to be one of the obstacles that stand in their way from achieving their goal of getting to a finals. But the last 3 games, I mean, like we just haven't been playing a full 60 minutes or 48 minutes of basketball. I mean, like we've been like turning the ball over too much. We're fouling too much. Like some guys are like just not scoring as much. I know Mitch Robinson came back and he got 11 rebounds last night, which is cool. And Josh Hart, who I think it's only his second or third game back because I know he was hurt to start the year. He didn't score anything last night. So that's obviously a problem. And the big issue is I think like we're just not doing well in transition. And we're getting too many guys on the line. Like last night, we only had 18 free throws and we gave the Bulls let's see here. Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. We gave
28-17.
Correct, 28-17. You can't be fouling those guys too much. Now, I understand the Bulls are a good team right now, but if the Knicks are trying to achieve their ultimate goal, I mean, this is just like a rocky start. And I know it's 3 straight on the road. I mean, they started off 2-0 at home, and they versed the Bulls again on their next game at home in MSG. So there's obviously going to be some time. It's still the beginning of the season. I know Mike Brown is a new head coach here. And he's like having these like weird mix-ups in like his rotations. Like, and I know he likes to utilize the full extent of the bench, something that Coach Thibodeau did not do. And we're seeing a lot more guys come into the forefront. I know he's playing Tyler Kolek more. Yabusele and Clarkson are getting a lot of minutes. Shaman, I think, has been pretty good so far to start the season. Deuce coming back, I think his second game off of injury. OG, Brunson, Mikal Bridges are doing their thing. Cat didn't do well last game. I think he only scored like 8 points or something like that. Not good. He scored 22 last game, but like I think Jake was alluding to it. He might be playing hurt. I'm not sure. I'm curious to see what Jake thinks about it. But yeah, Knicks definitely got to stop turning the ball over and stop fouling too much because other than that, I feel like the Knicks, it's going to be a rocky start, especially with our new coach Mike Brown. But I think it'll get better as the season starts to go on.
You mentioned that there could be potential growing pains with Mike Brown, and I think that's what we're absolutely seeing. But yes, Coach Thibodeau exhausted his star players, and that was the reason why they would get tired late in games and would blow big leads. So that's why they got rid of him and brought in Mike Brown, who's, I guess, utilizing everything and is more hands-on. He wants to utilize everyone and give them proper, playing time. But I think he's just feeling it out right now, Mike Brown. Think of it. We're only 5 games out of 77, 82 in. So there's still plenty of time to work things out. And the Knicks are a really good team. So I think that they can recover from this easily. Jake, would you say that Mike Brown at this point is doing what he can to find the right fit with this team?
I think Kevin's right. I think he is filling up the roster. It's a bit of a difficult spot because not only do they have some new pieces, Jordan Clarkson, Yabusele, you have a couple of new pieces. Because Tibbs was so short-sighted in terms of using the bench, there's guys that are not new that are basically new. Tyler Kolek barely played last year.
Yeah.
A guy like Landry Shamet didn't get series minutes basically until the conference finals because they were down 2-0.
Yeah.
He had to make an adjustment or they were going to probably get swept. So even the guys that have been here for a year, it's like they're like rookies with the Knicks because they because they didn't really play last year.
Mhm.
So, and obviously Brown was obviously not the coach last year. So just they're trying out so many new things. I'm sure Jalen Brunson is used to, uh, even a random game in November going out there playing 38, 39 minutes.
Yeah.
He's playing 31, 32 minutes. Not that it's wrong. In fact, I think that's not wrong, but it's just different. They're not, it's almost like something just seems off right now. They look like a team that is used to not what's going on right now. They're used to, playing 38 to 40 minutes, even in a random game in November.
Mhm.
Fortunately, that's not how you win a championship. I do think that's what costs Tibbs' job. But so there's going to be growing pains. You have a new coach. There's new pieces. It's kind of different philosophy of coaching. Obviously playing as bad as they did against Milwaukee, who has Giannis and God knows who on that team. It's Miles Turner and whatever Kyle Kuzma is.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That bad in the second half. The Bulls, who look good so far, but that's not a great team. Like, I like Josh Giddey. I like Ayo. Other than that, it's God knows who out there. So to give up 135 to them, 135 in a regulation game, that's a big number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the Knicks especially.
And like those first couple of games, those first 2-3 games, defensively they actually looked pretty good, which I was a little surprised about because they weren't great defensively last year. And I thought with bringing in Mike Brown, they would regress even more in that category. But the last couple of games, it's been kind of the opposite. So I really do think he's filling up the roster, and just it's such a change of philosophy. It's going to take some time. And yes, Carl Towns, he's playing hard. He needs to sit down.
Yeah. Like I said, there's going to be some hiccups here and there, especially 5 games in. Hey, listen, you can be better than the Brooklyn Nets right now. Barclays Center is literally the place for Monday Night Raws and concerts at this point. They're so bad. They're just.
I wonder what happens first. Like, if Samoan wins a match at Barclays Center, or the Nets win a basketball game.
Oh my God! It's embarrassing. The Nets are one of 3 teams that are 0-5 to start the year, and they got the Sixers tomorrow. I can only imagine how that's going to go. Also, I mentioned we're going to get to beatens and unbeatens. Philadelphia was unbeaten until last night, and that kid VJ Edgecombe has been awesome, to say the least. And Tyrese Maxey, I think, is the voice of the club. I think Joel Embiid has to take a step back a little bit because we saw the drama that he put on last year, and it embarrassed the entire team.
The one thing that the 76ers have gotten better at is shots behind the line.
Yes, 100%. And I think that new philosophy and new personnel, like I said, VJ Edgecombe, I think just changed the complexion of the team early on in the season. So we have 3 unbeatens. We got the Spurs with my man Dylan Harper, Rutgers represent. We got the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder, and then we mentioned the Bulls. John, of those 3 unbeatens, who stands out the most between those 3?
Obviously, it's the Bulls. It's one of the reasons I pointed it out. It's one of the reasons that was one of the things I started with when we were doing our show prep and warm up conversations. It's been over a decade since the Bulls have gone 5-0. So this is very impressive. And I don't think the division is up for grabs, but it's very impressive to see the Bulls performing at this level with the players that they have.
Yeah, I mean, the Bulls have been an okay team for the last few years. They haven't really been world beaters, in my opinion, since Derrick Rose was NBA MVP. That was the last time then they were really the team to watch out for. Now they've kind of taken a step back. But Ayo Dosunmu, former Illinois basketball player, he's helped things turn around for sure. I think coaching also has something to do with it. Discipline. That's the ultimate thing in basketball, especially for a young and growing team like the Bulls. But I like the Spurs a lot. And I mentioned, Dylan Harper. Victor Wembanyama's averaging 30 points a game early on in the season. He's incredible. And we knew he was going to be like this in his career. And I think he's been, year 2, year 3 already? Year 3, my God. Time goes by so fast. I remember when he was projected to go number 1 pick in the draft in 2023, and people were saying this guy's like a unicorn, and he's proven to be a cheat code so far. I think coaching staff definitely has something to do with it with the Spurs. I think definitely personnel as well. I mean, I mentioned Dylan Harper, how good he's been doing, but I think other contributors as well have been helping things out. Jake, would you agree with that?
Yeah, they're a good team. I think they make the playoffs this year. I'm interested to see what happens when De'Aaron Fox comes back, how they integrate him into the lineup, because he's a very good player. I think he'll be underrated. You have 3 good point guards there. You have Fox, you have Stephon Castle, who was rookie of the year last year.
Yes.
You draft Dylan Harper. You have some other pieces in the front court like Devin Vassell and Kelvin Johnson, Jeremy Sochin. So that's a really good team. This is probably the first time, probably since their championship run with Popovich and Duncan and those guys. They kind of went to a large rebuild after that. And they have a legit team. This is a good basketball team, and I think they should make the playoffs.
100%. And it was only a matter of time before they put things together. I love Greg Popovich. I really do. I respect him. NBA Hall of Famer. But after he suffered that stroke late last season, you figured that it was time to move on. Like I said, commend him. Also, amazing career. But you got to give way to a new generation. And I think that's what the Spurs are doing. And it's working out so far. Now, we're going to get into the NHL because I wish Alec Novel was here because we could go into hockey for like a good 20 minutes if we had him. But Frozen Frenzy was Tuesday night. We had 109 goals scored on Tuesday, 5 short of the record, which is 114 set back in November 4th of 2023. 114 goals. 109? Not bad. Now, the Devils were awesome for a good point. I think they started 8-0 in the Don LaGreca era, and Kevin knows where I'm going with this. They recently lost to the San Jose Sharks not too long ago, and I think they lost to the Avalanche beforehand. Kev, explanations? He's speechless.
Listen, I can understand. I can understand why we lost to Colorado on the road because, okay, if any team was going to break that 8-game winning streak, I'm not mad if it's like Colorado because they're an actual good team this year. They're one of the top teams in the league for a reason, and I think they're going to make the playoffs again. The Sharks, that's unacceptable. I'm sorry. The Sharks are not a good team. They're one of the worst teams in the league, and I think that last game, I know Jacob Markstrom came back from injury, and I think maybe that last game against Colorado was just like him being a little bit rusty. But now we put Jake Allen, who I think has been very good so far as the goaltender for the Devils, and he did not do good. Allowed 5 goals to the Sharks, and most of that wasn't really his fault. I mean, if you watch the whole game, I mean, all of the goals that the Sharks scored were just kind of unlucky for the Devils. It was either goals off of a deflection or it was goals off of a turnover. So, and for the Devils, offensively, they've been great and sound offensively all season, but defensively, especially these past couple of games, they've just been not been good. And I know that they have a couple of guys that are hurt, like Cody Glass is hurt right now. Brett Pesce is hurt for at least a month, and they're desperately missing Brett Pesce because he's one of the best defensemen that the Devils have. And, he's a guy that can kill penalties and can really get after opposing teams on the power play. And the Sharks, they've got some nice young talent. I know Celebrini is really good. Will Smith is very good too. But I'm sorry, overall as a whole, we should not be losing to a team like the Sharks. I'm sorry. And I don't know what it is, but every single season, the Devils just seem to be bad on West Coast road trips. I don't know what it is. Last season, they had a West Coast road trip where they had the exact same thing happen. They had the Sharks, the Kings, the Ducks. They lost to all of them. They were 0-4-1, I think. In last year's West Coast road trips, and this year so far is no different. They're 0-2 on the road in the West Coast, and they have 2 more starting tonight on the road against the Kings, and then the next game in Anaheim against the Ducks. And they just got to find it together. Go get back to basics, get back to what has been made you successful, and be sound offensively. I understand there was a few chances here or there where they could have gotten a goal, but they just missed it after a stick here and there. On the power play, they've got to do a better job. The power play, they've been too conservative. They've been passing the puck way too much. I think they should be peppering the goaltender every single time. Defensively, it's just bad turnovers. There's one time, literally last game against the Sharks, it was a pass to Siegenthaler and he missed it. He let it get by him. And I don't know who had the breakaway, but one of the Sharks players, had a breakaway, and then hit Jake Allen through the 5-hole for an easy goal. I'm like, come on, like that can't happen. I'm sorry. I know it's a turnover, but you can't be turning the puck over to bad teams and like going down like 2-0, 3-0 early on against them. That can't happen. And like with that previous game against Colorado, going down 5-0. I understand it's Colorado, but you cannot be giving up that many goals because you keep getting yourselves into the box. You can't just keep putting yourselves into the box every time. I know Devils are a physical team, but you've got to be composed in that sense. And I love like the fight that they had in that second period against Colorado. And they went from 5-0 to 5-4, 4 goals in that second period. I love that tenacity and ferociousness. But that third period, I mean, like we just could not get anything past Wedgwood, the former Devil. And then Colorado proceeded to score 3 more goals. It's because we were giving them too many power plays. They scored 4 power play goals against us that game. But like they've got to get back to basics starting tonight against the Kings. And like they've got to do what they have done best and have a good offense and run and skate fast and get to the goaltender. And they have to have sound defense because keep in mind, before that that first Sharks game in Prudential Center, they had 21 straight penalties killed. So that PK unit has got to come back to basics and it's got to come back to reality. And it starts tonight, hopefully, against the Kings.
And I think the Kings are not an easy team. I mean, they're 5-3-4 on the year. Sacramento is, or not the LA Kings. Excuse me.
LA Kings.
LA Kings. They're not bad, but they're not exactly world beater teams, especially in the Western Conference. You need to take advantage. Now, I get it. West Coast, in any sport, you travel across the country. You have the 3-hour time difference. You're going to have a little hiccup here and there, but the Kings should be a no-brainer. I think losing to the Sharks, I mean, Macklin Celebrini, like you mentioned before, is good, but they're still not a good team.
Nope. Now, the good thing is, the reason that the Devils could take advantage is I know the Hurricanes and the Penguins lost last night. So, and I know that both of those two teams are trying to chase in the Metropolitan Division. So if Devils can take advantage and get a win tonight, they're going to be tied with the Canes and the Pens because those 2 points, you should have got those 2 points, but you can get it back with a win against the Kings tonight and take advantage of it in that sense.
I mean, the Devils have a really good team on paper. They look really good. They're poised to make a run. But the problem with them is that they have their hiccups, and when they're off really bad. And I think that's their biggest problem. They need to get back to basics. On the other side of the spectrum, another team we're traveling on the West Coast in Seattle, amazingly, are the New York Rangers. My New York Rangers. I am like a fair weather fan with this team at this point. Like they fired Pete Laviolette. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2024. And then last year was just a complete dumpster fire. And now we're back to square one. We're 5-5-2 at this point, but not exactly where we want to be. Igor Shesterkin, he's having an okay season to start, I guess. But Jay, what more could you say about the Rangers that could hopefully turn things around?
Offensively, they're terrible. They are flat out terrible. They can't score. Their power play is god-awful.
Yep.
It's just pathetic. I don't have a lot of hope for this team. I didn't have a lot of hope coming into the season. You know, in the offseason, you went and got Gavrikov, which I like. Swapping in for Keandre Miller, I do think is an upgrade. But they're playing a lot of young guys. I don't even watch them that much between the World Series and the Knicks starting because I just have.
I get that.
I don't have a ton of hope for them. Like there's some of these guys that are running out there, like Taylor Radish is on like their third line. That guy would be like a death piece. I don't know if he'd be in the lineup every day on a lot of other teams. You know, they have a couple of rookies in there, and just I don't have a ton of hope. I think this is definitely an in-between year, and you know, Panarin's a great player, but every year in the playoffs it is a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Trocheck's hurt. He's over the hill anyway. Lafreniere is not the player we thought he was. There's nothing else to say.
Yeah. I'm looking at their stats right now. An 8% shooting percentage and a 13% power play percentage.
The power play at 13%. Good Lord.
13% power play. Like that's
their power play is brutal.
It's third worst in the NHL. I wonder who's worse.
The Flames, maybe?
Who?
Maybe the Flames, if I had to guess.
Calgary hasn't been too good on the power play themselves. Oh my God. Oh boy. So before we act, I was gonna get into Alex Ovechkin tracing 900. He's right there. But John Tavares did score 500 career goals, so congrats to him on that. Um, I would have loved. Oh, here's a story. So there was a Penguins game on a Tuesday night, I believe, and a fan fell from the upper deck and landed on his head. He's in critical condition now in the hospital. We haven't really heard much news about the fan. Hopefully, and praying he's still alive and can recover. But that was a story that I looked at like, okay, that's actually kind of serious. It's still fairly early in the NHL season. We haven't even hit the Christmas break because we just hit November. But obviously, John, like that's not ideal for any hockey fan, for any fan in general.
Definitely not. Nobody should be taking headers off of the balcony in any sport, even hockey, even Division II hockey, where they like to fight and get rough. I don't know the extenuating circumstances. Hopefully they're okay. But I think precautions need to be taken so that doesn't happen again.
Absolutely, 100%. Now, I actually want to get back into the NBA. I'm going back and forth a little bit, but there was one story that I wanted to get into, and this involves one of the NBA's greatest players, if not the greatest player of all time. Michael Jordan was on ESPN Radio, and he criticized load management in the NBA. Now, why do I mention this? Because load management has been a pretty big topic of discussion over the last several years in the NBA, and the NBA has been through a bunch of issues. We mentioned the gambling scandal not too long ago on the last episode. We're not going to get back to that because there hasn't been any updates yet. Although we did hear Antonio Gates hosted one of the events, which is actually kind of bananas. But here's what Michael Jordan said about NBA load management. He says the following. He says, well, it shouldn't be needed, first and foremost. I never wanted to miss a game because it was an opportunity to prove. It was something that I felt like the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy way up on top who probably worked his ass off to get a ticket or get money to buy the ticket. So thank you, Michael Jordan. You basically speak common sense. And one of the biggest problems in the NBA, and I've addressed, and I think we've said this before, is that players have a lot of control and they're sitting in and out of games, and coaches are not really pleading their case to say, hey, you need to play. We need to win. You need to prove yourself. Maybe get a max contract down the line or even a big salary. I'm actually happy Michael Jordan said those words because this absolutely is like what the NBA is lacking right now. Just consistent play from all your stars. Michael Jordan, I think we all saw the Last Dance docuseries, I'm assuming. And Michael Jordan talked about every single day. That was my motivation to do well. I was motivated. These players don't seem motivated at all. John, I'm going to come to you first. Do you think Michael Jordan is accurate when he says that we don't need load management in the NBA?
That's a tough question to answer. I mean, he played in an era where he went back onto the court and put his original Air Jordans on, and his feet were bleeding by the end of the game. And nobody ever does that ever. Nobody's ever done that ever since. When you were talking about that interview, I was remembering that documentary because he would show up for the person, for the fan, for the kid that came to that game specifically to see him. That's why he showed up. I don't know that you have the same relationship between players and fans that way that you do.
Yes.
And so, I think load management is soft. I think the players are soft. The season hasn't been extended. You're not playing more games.
Yes.
But the players are getting paid more. So I definitely agree that there is some truth to his statement. But he's coming from the perspective of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, different eras, but this era is very, very soft, like John mentioned before. Jake, I'm going to come to you next. When Michael Jordan says that we don't need load management, and you see how the NBA is functioning with their players, do you think this is accurate?
I think it's completely accurate. We don't need load management. We never did. It started with Kawhi, the Spurs with Kawhi, and Toronto continued it, and now LeBron does it every single year, almost every single week at this point. And we just don't need it. Guys are making $200-300 million, and they can't play 3 times a week. It's ridiculous. It's not needed. It should be abolished.
Kev, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with both John and Jake here. From John's perspective, I understand. Like, you got to understand, different era that time back when Michael Jordan played, like 80s and 90s. It's not the same era as it is with like load management and all that now. There's not the same relationship from like player to fans. And like with Jake's case, I don't think it should be necessary at all because like we mentioned it, like these guys are making like tens of millions of dollars to play a children's game of basketball, right?
Yeah.
And then like if you can't condition yourself to play 3 times a week, then like you really shouldn't be playing basketball at high of a level. If you're getting paid that much money, like you at that point, just condition your body better. Like you get paid to play a game of basketball for millions and millions of dollars. So absolutely, load management shouldn't even be a thing. So I agree with both of them.
So basically, we're all, to quote one of, we don't need it. We don't need it. We definitely don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need it.
Look at the NFL compared to the NBA. You have load management and the mafia in the NBA, and Cam Scatteraboo smashing in telephone poles in the NFL.
Don't remind me, dude.
Don't remind me of that, please. Otherwise, I'll turn my ankle a hard turn right.
I think the NFL gods, these Silver Giants fans, having fun for like 3 weeks. They're like, it's enough.
Oh God.
You poor fella.
Matt, remember I told you I bought a Scatteraboo jersey literally after that game?
Yeah. I remember that.
And now he's hurt.
Well, you guys know that your franchise only exists to make sure that the good players go to other teams, right?
We know.
I guess at this point, because
I
everybody
guess at this point we're kind of have to accept the fact that the Giants are basically just cannon fodder for good players. Oh man. So I want to get into the NFL before we get into commercial break with DAS and Auto Consulting. This is gonna be a quick one because we do have several minutes before I play the DAS ad. There was some breaking news out of Miami after losing 28-6 on Thursday Night Football to the Baltimore Ravens. The Miami Dolphins have fired general manager Chris Grier after 9+ seasons. Tua Tagovailoa has regressed. The Dolphins defense has been horrific. But the one thing the Dolphins did not do that they should have done and fans were clamoring for was Mike McDaniel should have been canned as well. And listen, Chris Grier, for everything that he's done over the last near decade with the Dolphins, he's hit on a couple of picks, but he hasn't really nailed anything. I thought the Tyreek Hill acquisition, I thought that was a complete bust because he's probably going to be gone from Miami after this season. Maybe he'll return to Kansas City. Who knows? But the Dolphins have not had the right personnel ready for a while. And then you see Tua Tagovailoa getting hurt with the concussions, and he's been on a downhill spiral. It's just been bad. And I think that making Chris Grier the fall guy was step one. He had to complete step two and complete the sweep and clean house completely. John, I'm going to come to you first. So Chris Grier, obviously the fall guy. Why did Mike McDaniel get canned?
So from a front office point of view, I kind of want to lay it down like this.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the happiest man not in the room right now is in Minnesota. It's Brian Flores.
Yes.
So what's interesting about this to me is the gameplay style and the on and off personality of Tua Tagovailoa. I don't know if you saw his hype speech before the game. It was awful. Like, he couldn't motivate a ham sandwich. It blew my mind, the words that were coming out of his mouth. He said we have 60 minutes to play for 4 hours.
What?
I don't know if that's the CTE talking or what, but then you break down his the video of him playing against the Ravens, there was a play where the left side of the field was open for 30 yards and he threw it for an incomplete pass on third down. So his decision making is completely terrible. So the first point I want to make is from now till the end of the year, Mike is the only coach that will play with this quarterback till the end of the season. You bring in an interim GM. The other point is you bring in an interim GM. He's going to want his own coach. So you do that at the end of the year. I think McDaniels is gone on Black Monday. And then they do a changeover where they hire a GM and a head coach the way the Raiders did in the offseason last year. In that
I remember
order.
that, yeah. That's a pretty good way of looking at things. So Kevin, I'm going to come to you next. The Dolphins have been a disappointment to say the least. They had their window in the AFC where maybe they could contend, and then Tua's concussions, and then the wheels fall off from there. I think the biggest failure to me when it comes to the Dolphins, and I think this is very valid, not having a backup for Tua, not having a good next man up. And one of the reasons why I think Mike McDaniel should be fired is because whenever Tua goes down, the offense just freezes completely. I went to a game last year where they played the Tennessee Titans, and I think it was Tyler Snoop-Huntley was the starter, and they were pitiful offensively. So why get rid of half the house and not get rid of the main crux of the problem?
I have no idea. I mean, like I would have fired both, like in tandem, like a package firing, like if you will, like with Greer and McDaniel. But I understand where John is coming from. Where like I think they could do the same thing with the Raiders doing and like get a different interim GM who can hire his own coach. But the Dolphins, yeah, they've just been horrible for like years now. And like you said, a no backup for Tua. I mean, you had like Tyler Huntley, Skylar Thompson playing games like when Tua was getting concussed like for every game. Like that's just not a good backup to have. Like when you have a team, you need to have a reliable backup quarterback to make sure like if your star quarterback does go down, you at least have some reliability in there. Remember when the Giants had Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm as their backup quarterbacks? I mean, they were horrible. But at least like I think it was it last year or the year before where they had Tyrod Taylor, because Tyrod Taylor at least actually played decent whenever like Daniel Jones wasn't hurt. And
I believe
on
it
the
was
Jets
last
now.
year. I believe it was last year.
Yeah, last year. And now they have two reliable backup quarterbacks. They have Russell Wilson and they have Jameis Winston. So, like, at least you have guys there for, like, if Dart happens to get hurt all of a sudden, at least you have some reliability there. But, like, I agree. Like, the Dolphins, I think this was a long time coming with the firing for Zach Greer. But I think McDaniel, I think he gets canned by season's end for sure.
Now, the only reason why I would suggest this is because you get blown out on a Thursday night. We've seen coaches get fired on Thursday Night Football. Now, the only reason why Thursday Night Football could actually work is if you have a failing product the entire season. And I'm going to come to this one. When you have a failing product and you go into a game on a Thursday and you get blown out like the Dolphins did, usually you get fired on a Thursday just to give you the extra few days to prepare and start fresh with a new coach and a new staff. But that did not happen with Mike McDaniel. It happened with Brandon Staley a couple of years ago. But, like, I just don't understand why there was no quick turnaround, why there was no mood. Why didn't the fans' outcry come through Stephen Ross's ears?
Well, first of all, the main reason is Stephen Ross is a complete idiot. That's why that happened. He's a terrible owner.
Yeah.
I think part of it might just be at this point, they're 2-7. They absolutely suck. They're absolutely terrible. They're at the point to where this thing is going to be torn apart in the offseason. Tyreek Hill's not going to be there. I don't see Devon Achane being on the team next year. I don't see Jalen Lyle being on the team next year or Jalen Phillips. I think this is going to be a complete restart in the offseason. If you fire a coach, that can spark a team.
Yeah.
And if they fire him, and let's say they pick up a couple wins that they shouldn't. Like right now, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but outside of, they have one more game against the Jets, which they could win because the Jets are even worse than they are.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't know who they're going to beat. If this team gets sparked by a coaching firing, maybe they win a couple more games, end up with 6 wins. That gets you, I don't know, the 9th pick in the draft. If you end up with 3 or 4 wins, you're going to have the top 5 pick. I would imagine looking to move on from Tua. They should be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they'll get out of that deal, but they got to find a way. At this point, just keep the guy and lose the rest of them and fire him at the year at this point. There's no point. And the Chris deserves to be fired. The guy's been there since 2000. Not as a GM, but he's been there since 2000. He has as many playoff wins as I do since he joined the playoff game in 25 years.
That's terrible.
They've been to the playoffs as recently as 2 years ago, but they have not won a playoff game in 25 years. I wasn't even born yet.
That's actually bananas. John, you wanted to say something?
That Week 17 game between the Jets and the Dolphins is going to decide which team in that division gets the better quarterback.
Yeah.
Very possible. Very possible indeed.
But yeah, at this point, I know we think Stephen Ross is like, all right, this GM is dreadful. You mentioned Matt, couple of picks here and there that he hit on. For the most part, first of all, he took 2 over Justin Herbert. I don't care what you think.
Yeah, he did. I
don't care what you think of Herbert. He's better than Tua. There's no debate there. And he did that, and just he needs to get canned. I think if McDaniel like, okay, he's horrible. I honestly think McDaniel is the most. You mentioned the most happiest person, John, is Brian Flores. I think the most unhappiest person is Mike McDaniel. I think he wants to get fired. The guy looks defeated. He's wearing like short jeans and capris to these press conferences.
Oh my god!
I think that just screams, I know I messed up. I know I'm not a good head coach. I get it. Just please put me out of my misery. I want to go back to being an offensive coordinator. Please.
Well, it's unfortunate because it's a strike against a non-player head coach. He came in to that position as a coaching genius, and he's leaving. He's exiting as a coke fiend. So,
oh my goodness. Shots fired across the board. All right, we will get into spread picks in a minute, but we got to give a shout out to our sponsor. That is DAS Technology Consulting. DAS Technology Consulting has been around for almost 30 years and has the best solutions for your IT infrastructure needs. And if you want to know more, here's Chief Sales Officer Darren Sirianni. Take a listen.
Our approach at DAS Technology is simple. At DAS Technology, we offer a very unique approach by providing our clients a single point of contact for all their mission-critical data center demands. DAS Technology Consulting is a global leader in data center services, specializing in delivering cutting-edge, best-of-breed enterprise solutions. With a focus on innovation and reliability, DAS provides worldwide storage, server, and networking solutions that are tailored to meet the evolving demands of the modern data-driven world.
Thank you, DAS Technology Consulting, for everything that you do. We greatly appreciate it, 100%. But with that being said, we are back with hour number 2 of the show. And in said hour, we will be getting to a lot of NCAA football. We have a lot of stuff to get into when it comes to that. 2 top 10 upsets happened today. Vanderbilt being one. I think their playoff chances are in jeopardy now after that. And then surprising in the ACC, Miami is gone, losing to SMU in overtime on the road. We'll get into all that and then some. And now we're going to go right back to NCAA football. By the way, Matt Sirianni, Kevin Zalskovitz, Jon Welch, Jake Cardinale for hour number 2. And we also have Fresh Finder Fried on top of that. So I want to get to, obviously, the occurrences that happened. But no offense to Kevin, but Houston did lose as well. They were a big, heavy favorite against West Virginia, and they lost 45-42. Sorry, Kevin.
No, you shouldn't be sorry, Matt. I'll tell you who should be sorry is the entire UH Cougars team. That's who should be sorry, because it's unacceptable, like what happened today. Like you just got ranked for the first time in a long time, and I understand this is Willie Fritz's second coaching year. I think he's brought a new culture to UH football. But what happened today is unacceptable. Losing from beating an Arizona State team who was ranked 24th in the nation on the road to going back at home and losing to a 2-6 West Virginia team. Their 2 wins came against Robert Morris and Pittsburgh in overtime. They are garbage. And when you turn the ball over, not 1 time, not 2 times, not 3 times, not 4 times, but 5 times against a 2-6 team, That is unacceptable. And Connor Wegman had 2 interceptions. One wasn't his fault because it was tipped and then it was picked. The second one was absolutely his fault because he underthrew his man. We had a muff punt after we get a stop late in the game. Unacceptable. And 2 fumbles lost. Can't happen. We're making a 2-6 West Virginia Mountaineers team look like a really good playoff team. That cannot happen. And like we're giving so many rushing yards on the ground to their running back, Dior Hubbard, a freshman who had a career high in carries and rushing yards with 108. That cannot happen. Like if you're UH. And now our shots at possibly getting to the Big 12 championship is probably shot now because now we have to rely on teams like BYU, Cincinnati, Utah, and Texas Tech losing. And like Arizona State already won earlier today against Iowa State. So now we're tied with them in conference record. So we have to rely on teams like we have to hope that Cincinnati beats Utah tonight so that Utah can be below us in conference record. And we have to make sure other teams we have to rely. I don't like when we rely on other teams. That's not a good recipe to have.
Oh, I hate it.
The next 2 games, I hate it too. And like the next 2 games, let me see. The last 2 games we have in our 3 games are UCF, not a good team, TCU, an okay team, and Baylor, not a good team. We should be beating all 3 of those teams. But guess what? If you turn the ball over 5 times, I don't care who the team is. Like you can't win if you turn the ball over that much. And like Connor Wegman, I don't know what was going on with him in that game, but I would have much rather put in Zion Chris in there, like the backup quarterback, because at least he went in for one pass, and he completed it. And then we just take him out for the rest of the game. I don't know if it was a mental thing with his case. And like our right tackle was horrible tonight. Like the offensive line was just crumbling the entire game. And like we are letting this West Virginia team who is not good roll over us like it's nothing. So unacceptable. You need to change something, and you got to change it quick next game because like if you lose, because now we're going to lose our 22 ranking, right? And like we have to rely on other teams. And what happened tonight simply unacceptable. Can't happen.
Yeah, not acceptable indeed. Especially because you looked at it a couple weeks ago, the Big 12 was wide open. BYU was probably the only team that was actually good in that conference. Now they're probably going to end up facing Cincinnati if things go according to plan. But not ideal for the Houston Cougars at all. Hey, listen, Rutgers got blown 35-13. So, hey, listen, I feel your pain, man. Our alma maters suck, but.
We need a T-shirt with Kevin's "What are you doing?" face on it, and just insert your team here.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Seriously, what are you doing?
But like again,
seriously, man,
the Big 12 is actually not that bad of a conference. It's better than the ACC. The ACC is dreadful.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But like. Really, the only conference that's actually really good right now is I guess the SEC. Although the Big 10 is like a 2-team race at this point. But to go over the results of Week 10 thus far in college, let me go over them. Kansas beat Oklahoma State 38-21. Western Michigan beat Central Michigan 24-21. Mississippi State 38-35 over Arkansas. Virginia survived against Cal on the road. Indiana, oh my God, 55-10 over Maryland on the road. They were a 21.5-point favorite. They basically doubled that spread. Georgia survived in Jacksonville. They beat Florida 24-20. Notre Dame didn't look impressive, but they did get the win in Boston College. And I think with Vanderbilt losing and Miami losing, I think their playoff chances just skyrocketed a little bit. Texas Tech beat Kansas State. Michigan State, oh my God, Jake Hogger, God bless you. They lost to Minnesota in overtime. And then other results, Ohio State beat wounded Penn State team 38-14. And then Texas beat Vanderbilt 34-31. And in overtime, the SMU Mustangs knock off the 10th-ranked Miami Canes 26-20. After
Carson Beck interception.
Off a Carson Beck interception in overtime, they got to the 1-yard line. Yep. Wow.
Carson Beck is not good.
Not good at all. And honestly, like, I've seen a lot of footage of Carson Beck, even back to his Georgia days. I was never really impressed by the guy.
I said it last time. I keep saying Carson Beck is not good at football.
Yeah.
I think Mendoza should have stayed.
Yes. You know what? That's amazing you say that. Fernando Mendoza, who's killing it in Indiana, left Miami for Carson Beck because Mario Cristobal, who's now lost 6 games as double-digit favorites since becoming coach of the Canes, wanted Carson Beck and not Fernando Mendoza. And now look at what's happening.
He also sucks.
Who, Mario Cristobal?
He's terrible.
Yeah, very, very overrated coach. Really, really overrated coach. Now, as far as go ahead. Yeah. Now, as far as games going on right now and the results, you might want to listen to some of these results. Ole Miss is up 17-7 over South Carolina in the second quarter. Purdue and Michigan 7-7 tie. Arizona, Colorado, the Fighting Deion Sanders is 24-7 over Arizona. They're losing. San Diego State 10-7 over Wyoming. Georgia Tech at the end of one is trailing 14-10 to Georgia Tech, 14-7 to Georgia Tech, or NC State. Georgia Tech is losing 14-7 to NC State after one quarter. Tennessee, Oklahoma, a game that a lot of people are keeping their eyes on in the SEC. 7-0 Tennessee after 5.5 minutes. USC, Nebraska. Nebraska, Cornhuskers up 7-0 early. And then we got Wake Forest, Florida State, no score, and then a couple of other games with no score there. So, Jake, I'm going to come to you.
Did you see the Tennessee uniforms for today? They're doing a blackout.
They're doing a blackout?
They went with Halloween colors. They went all black with orange helmets.
Ooh,
Oh, nice. Spooky.
I like it. So I'm going to come to John first on the results. Obviously, we mentioned Miami. We mentioned Vanderbilt. What other result surprised you, to say the least, of all the games that have been played so far?
If Manning hadn't played, I think that would have been a different game for Vandy. They lost. They were losing by more and came back. But Texas definitely had the better defense there. I think Georgia Tech is the clear number one in the ACC. They're driving right now. They're on the 35-yard line of state, so they're probably going to score. That'll be a back and forth game all game long. I was surprised by Ole Miss. They had a really, really tough game against Oklahoma, and they look solid right now against South Carolina. So I think the teams are actually where they're kind of supposed to be. Nothing against Teen Jake, but Minnesota was supposed to win today. They were favored. I'm surprised at Colorado. I think Arizona had at least a touchdown spread victory happening there. So
Yeah.
Deion's still doing something. He's still cooking there, even though most of the players that came with him from Jacksonville State are gone. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens at that school.
You mentioned, keep going.
And then we talking about Cristobal. People don't talk about him as much just because the coaches for Florida and Florida State are much worse. So I think it would be really interesting to see whole new coaching packages for all 3 Florida teams next year.
Yeah, and you mentioned the big jobs that are open, that potentially open. LSU fired Brian Kelly, by the way, earlier this week. Had to be done.
Way more than that. I don't know if you followed that rabbit hole, but like the governor got involved because of
Greg Landry did get involved. Yes, he did get involved.
Because when you're talking about that much money, that's state tax dollars that are paying that salary. So that's the reason the athletic director got fired.
Yeah, Chris Webber got fired because Greg Landry called him out. I just want to put my little sentiment about that on here. First off, Brian Kelly deserved to get fired. He was a bad hire from the get-go when he tried to fake a Southern accent at an LSU football game or basketball game. It was a bad
dude from Massachusetts. Like
from Massachusetts trying to fake a Southern accent. Like, what are you trying to fool? So that was a sign waiting to happen. That was a disaster waiting to happen. Second, LSU has had a lot of talented players, but Garrett Nussmeier has not had a good season this year, and he's part of the reason why. And so there's that. I think Baton Rouge and LSU alum and players are they're scrambling for something relevant. I don't know who they're going to hire. I don't think Lane Kiffin wants to take the job there. Honestly, the LSU job is kind of attractive. Like, to me, between Penn State, Florida, and LSU is the most attractive job out there. But I think Lane Kiffin is fine where he is right now. I wouldn't see him leaving it all. But Kevin, I'm going to come to you. When it comes to LSU and firing Brian Kelly, which had to be done, what do you think LSU goes from here? Who do you think they can target as a next potential hire?
I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean, like, I agree with you. If I'm Lane Kiffin, I would just stay put and see where the chips fall. I know there were like rumors about like Steve Sarkisian and like him like wanting to go somewhere, but I don't buy any of that. I know James Franklin got fired. Like maybe they go with James Franklin. I'm not sure in that case, but like Brian Kelly had to be fired in that sense. Out of all those teams, I do think LSU is probably the most attractive place to go. Florida, despite their struggles this year, I think they have been keeping like games close against really good teams. Like Florida has had a brutal. We looked at the schedule early on. Like Florida has had a brutal schedule. Like you had an easy win against Long Island, and then you have like 5-6 straight games against really good teams. You had USF, who was ranked at the time, then LSU, Miami, Texas, A&M, Mississippi State, and then Georgia. At least all of those games, minus the Miami game and the A&M game, they're at least competitive and close in those games. So if I'm Florida, I would just stick to the coaching staff that you have right now, because I think it's a really a product of like the brutal schedule. But like absolutely, LSU, I think you probably can get a couple of better candidates in there. Like I said, maybe Franklin can has a shot there. Maybe give him a look. But I don't know where Brian Kelly goes. So that'll be more interesting to me to see where he goes.
The guy basically ruined his reputation in LSU, and he ruined it from the jump. And I heard one rumor. I don't know if this is actually factually true, but I heard Ed Orgeron, who was the former LSU head coach before Brian Kelly took over, is in consideration to return to Baton Rouge. I've also heard John shaking his head. Go ahead.
He's begging for that job, but they don't want him. Go Tigers.
So LSU is still on the search. Penn State is also another place. Like I heard rumors that as far as Penn State goes, Bill O'Brien might be looking to come back there potentially. Jake, would you agree with that?
Bill O'Brien's going back to Penn State. I mean,
would you say it's a good thing?
I don't see it. It's not the worst option I've ever heard. He did do a good job there. He's not a bad college head coach by any means. I don't know if they think he's the offensive coordinator at Ohio State or something now, or or maybe he's a head coach somewhere else. Like I haven't followed his career since he left Houston, but I don't think it'll be Bill O'Brien by any means.
That's fair. I know James Franklin. I think he'd want to return to the SEC. He was a former. He used to coach an SEC team. I forget what school he went to. Specific Vanderbilt. Okay, so he used to coach in the SEC. Maybe he can return to Florida. I know they fired Napier. That had to be done. Florida has not been relevant since Urban Meyer was their head coach during the Tim Tebow days. It was a long, long time ago. But it's unfortunate because these three programs are basically well-known college programs across the country. And now here they are. They're scrambling for solutions to get back to relevance. And here we are. Now, I want to get into another conversation, and this involves the outlook of the college football playoff. We're going to have the selection show or the ranking show on Tuesday. And remember, the top 12 teams get in. You don't need a conference championship victory to get a bye in the playoff to get in the top 4. But here are the top 12 right now as it stands. And it's going to change because of certain results. The number 1 team in the country, as expected, is the Ohio State Buckeyes, the defending national champions. Indiana's right behind them at number 2. Texas A&M, who's been killing it in the SEC, is number 3. Bam, Alabama is 4. Georgia, who barely escaped Florida, is at number 5. Oregon 6. Ole Miss 7. Georgia Tech, best team in the ACC by a country mile. They're at 8. Vandy's 9, although that's going to change. BYU 10. Miami 11. Notre Dame 12. We can see some shape shifting here in the top 12. And then outside, from 13 to 16, you got Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, who have made a lot of investments with billionaires as their athletic directors. They're at 13, just on the outside. Tennessee's at 14. Virginia's at 15. And then don't look now, but Louisville and Cincinnati are 16 and 17. So I'm going to come to John. As far as teams on the outside looking in that could potentially make that top 12, who do you think can make the jump?
Well, I'll go back to what I said last week. I really am keeping an eye on Texas Tech. I think they get in And I really like. I think Louisville might have a shot now that Miami's done.
Yeah. I also think Notre Dame's path to get into the playoff is also a little easier, knowing that 2 of the top 10 just went down.
Oh yeah, no, they have the by far the easiest path. They
Yeah.
don't lose a game
They'll get
It's,
in.
it's
for the
theirs
rest
for
of
the
the year.
taking. It's theirs for
Yeah.
the taking. The only thing I don't like about Notre Dame, and I think this is going to hurt them forever and ever and ever, they need to be in a conference. That's a debate for another day. Because me personally, I see them as an ACC school. They were an ACC school in every other sport, but when it comes to football, they pride themselves on being independents. It's been that way their entire football program history. They don't want to do it. They did it in 2020 when no independents were playing, and they're going to remain that way apparently. And I think they should make the move to ACC just to be consistent and also have continuity with every other sport. But they choose not to do that. Jake, who do you think on the outside looking in can make a jump into that top 12?
I think Texas Tech has a shot. I agree with John. I actually think that they could win the Big 12. I know they're behind BYU right now. I think it'll be Texas Tech. I'm interested to see what happens with Virginia. They were winning their game when I was watching them. I assume they ended up winning that game. I think they might have a shot of getting in. Obviously, Miami is now out, so I'm keeping my eye on Virginia for sure. And another really interesting team is Vanderbilt. I don't think they're going to get in now. They don't have much of a test till that Tennessee game.
Yeah.
That's going to be on the road. That's going to be a really good game. It's going to be a tough game for them. Right now, I wouldn't pick them. If they lose that game, they'll be lost number 3. That's going to bump them out. But if they win that game, and that's Tennessee is another interesting one. I think what are they 13 for 14 right now?
Yeah.
14.
That's a team. They might get in. Okay, they might get in because they have you have your game this week. If you win your game this week, you have basically nothing. You have a game in Gainesville, Florida. I mean, they're better than the record shows. There is talent on that team, but
Yeah.
Tennessee should win that game, and then you get Vanderbilt at home. I think the winner of that game might just sneak in. The loser is not going to get in.
That's fair. Kevin, I'm going to come to you. Same question. Who do you think can make their way into that top 12 at this point in the year?
I think that Texas Tech and Tennessee get in, and Vanderbilt and Miami get out.
That's fair. I like that. Jake brought up a really underdog team, and that's Virginia. Virginia is really flying under the radar. Like, people don't talk about how good they are. They're undefeated in ACC play, and if you look at the ACC standings right now, they have a shot, an outside shot nonetheless, of taking on Georgia Tech in the ACC title game. Now, again, conference play or conference championships don't matter for getting the bye. But Virginia could make a real statement if they were to beat Georgia Tech in a possible scenario. And I'm looking at Virginia's schedule right now. They got an easy path, and they could very well be the best team in the ACC if, in fact, Georgia Tech loses to Georgia at the end of the year, or even if they lose against NC State tonight. But I think Virginia has a really good shot.
They did survive Cal. They're 8-1. It's their best 9-game start since 1990.
Wow. 35 years. I wasn't even alive at that time. All right. So we covered a lot of ground with college, but now we're going to get back to the NFL because you know what time it is. It's time for Fresh Spreads. Let's build it. It's idealized by Talercios. How does this work? We pick the games based on the spread, and at the end of the week, I give us our win-loss records based on spread only. Remember, it's based on spread. And Fresh Spreads say, buy the Scotty Boothang sandwich at Talercios. That thing is delicious. It's in Monmouth County. If you're in New Jersey, it's right there. It's a really damn good sandwich place. Believe me, it is. They actually followed us on social media. Thank you, Talercios. You rock.
They did. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome. By the way, that guy
Crazy.
Eric is a nice guy. Awesome dude. All right, here we go.
Let's build it.
All right, let's build it. All right, first up, we got the Chicago Bears at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bears -3. We're going to start with Jake.
I'm going to take the Bengals. Flacco looks like he's going to play. There was rumors he might miss the game with a shoulder injury. He's got some sort of AC joints.
Yep.
Whatever, just because the guy's 1,000 years old, so his joints are always achy, or maybe he just wants to stay home with his kids, and we try to get out of the game. They're like, dude, our backup is Jake Browning, you have to play. But looks like he's going to play. I have zero confidence in Caleb Williams. I've been saying since college that the guy sucks. I'm going to take the Bengals. I am not familiar with sports gambling terms. I believe the term is they'll win outright, I think.
Yes, outright is the correct word. Kevin.
It'll depend on if Flacco's good to go. If Flacco's good to go, I say Bengals barely win. But if he's not good to go, I think the Bears win. I feel like the Bears, this is probably a get-right game for them in their case. So if Flacco's good to go, I'll say Bengals win by maybe 1 point. If Bears win, I feel like they win by a touchdown.
All right, John.
I don't know. Maybe I know something they don't know, but I just watched the Bengals give up a 14-point lead to the New York Jets. Give me the Bears.
You know what? -3 is a pretty tempting spread to take. And by the way, you mentioned the Jets. Rest in peace, Nick Mangold. Big time. And I'm going to take the Bears. I like the way this team is headed. I like Caleb Williams' play. He's improved under Ben Johnson. The Bengals defense is still not fantastic. And I think the Bears get it done on the road. Next up, we got a 9-point spread. The Minnesota Vikings at the Detroit Lions. Lions -9. Jake?
-9. I'm going to say Detroit covers in that one. -9 is a big spread.
It is.
Vikings, the roster is not bad by any means, but J.J. McCarthy's coming back. He hasn't played in 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Really rough those first 2 games. Coming off an ankle injury. The offensive line's really bad. Aiden Hutchinson, his new $180 million shiny contract, I think, gets after him. Detroit should be able to score a lot of points. I'll take Detroit to just beat the spread.
Okay. Kevin?
Well, as you guys may or may not know, I have Justin Jefferson in fantasy, and you guys know exactly how I feel about Kevin O'Connell, and I think he's a terrorist because he doesn't allow Justin Jefferson to get a touchdown at all this season. He only has 1 touchdown this season, so I don't trust him at all. So I'm going to say Lions out of spite. Lions are going to win by 14 points.
Oh, God damn. Wait, aren't you playing? You played me in fantasy last week and you won despite Justin Jefferson not doing a damn thing.
Yeah, because they're giving the ball to Jordan Addison for a touchdown instead, and he only had 3 points over him because he doesn't like to give Justin Jefferson the ball in the end zone. I don't know what it is. He just doesn't like it.
You gotta love fantasy football. John?
This is a tough one for me. I have never liked JJ. But my team inherited Sam Darnold because of it. I think 9 points is too much. I think the Lions win, but not by 9.
How much?
Ooh, I think it's a touchdown.
Oh, so you don't think they cover?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say the Lions cover that 9. I think they win by 10 because I think this Vikings team, for what it's worth, is competitive. But the Lions at home, I think they're really good at home, and I think that it's a division game. Lions trying to make a statement. I think the Lions cover easily. Next up, continuing the 1 o'clock slate, we got the Green Bay Packers hosting the Carolina Panthers. Panthers are a 13-point underdog. Jake?
13 points is a lot.
Big spread.
But I think Green Bay is going to cover that. Carolina is not good. I don't know how they're 4-4. Just Bryce Young's coming back, but it's weird. People trying to convince themselves that like Bryce Young's turned the corner. I don't see it. For like 8% of his games, he's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. I know they're giving Rigo Daddle the handcuffs are coming off. He's gonna be the lead back ahead of Chuba Hubbard. But that defense is really bad. I think Green Bay will be pretty dominant. I think they win by at least 2 touchdowns.
Okay. Kev?
Yeah, I think Packers should win and cover this easy. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Christian Watson is coming back off of injury too, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so with that being said, yeah, Packers should easily win. I know Panthers have had like a few surprises here and there, and like they've been like kind of like decent overall this season, but I don't see them being the Packers, especially in Lambeau.
Yeah, Green Bay is a tough place to play, especially at this point in the year. John?
I like the Packers. I don't like anything about the Panthers. I think with Jordan Love getting all of his weapons back and Josh Jacobs probably running 2 touchdowns, it's Packers easy.
Green Bay covers easily. We're going to continue the 1 o'clock slate. We got the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to start Mac Jones at the New York Giants without the Scatterboo thing. Giants are a 2.5-point underdog at home. We're going to start with Kev first on this one.
I have zero confidence in this Giants team for the rest of the season after that Scatterboo got hurt. After that last game, why should I trust anything that our defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen, also a terrorist? I don't know why he's still coached and employed on this team because he's been garbage. His defensive schemes are out of this world, nonsensical. And can we just trade for a wide receiver now, please? Like, the deadline's Tuesday, and you got to make a move or something because Dart is getting killed out there, like with the secondary being garbage. And we're going to have guys that are injured. Debo is injured. Holland is injured. Who else is injured? Cordell Flott's injured. So you're running guys like Deontay Banks and Corey Black out there as your main 2 corners. So I think the secondary is going to be destroyed, despite the fact that it is Mac Jones and that the Niners are also beat up as well. I think they get Kittle back too, so he's going to get a lot of catches. So give me Niners easily covering. Spread at 2.5. That's too low in my opinion. It should be 22.5 because that's how much I despise this team right now. Niners easily cover.
Amen to you, Jake.
I'm going to take the Niners. I don't think it'll be that bad of a game in terms of the margin of victory. Niners have a ton of injuries.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Kittle is back. I believe Ricky Pearsall's either might come back or he's already back.
He's working his way back as we speak.
Yeah.
Working his way.
He might play. Juwan James is back. So they're getting a little healthier. Mac Jones, I don't know what the term is, either whether you want to say he's played well or just, look what happens when you put a random quarterback who was a first rounder and with those weapons. But hasn't looked bad by any means. Now, he's certainly been what he was doing in New England. You mentioned the Giants' defense is beat up in the secondary.
Yeah.
Just the play calling defensively has been very, very bad. One thing, I don't know what happened to Dexter Lawrence.
Oh, God.
He has not had it. He's just not. I don't know if he's just not the same player anymore or
he's disappeared.
He has not been.
Something's wrong with him.
Whether it's an injury or maybe he's just fed up, but just not producing like he should be this year. Going into this year, I had him as probably the best player at his position.
Oh yeah,
he's not even a conversation at this moment, at least, and just the Giants losing Scab, that's a really tough loss. Terrell Tracy isn't a bum by any means. He's not bad.
No,
he's got fumbling issues. I think Dart's gonna miss him. Those two have gotten very close.
Yeah,
they don't even know what to throw to. I think the 49ers pick up the win. I think they do cover.
Okay, John.
So Houston beat the 49ers with a rookie running back and Braxton Berrios.
They did.
But what's interesting about what Houston did was they held the ball on offense for 10 minutes in the first quarter and never looked back.
Yes.
Houston had a better secondary, and I don't think the Giants can hold the ball for 10 minutes in the first quarter. I honestly think this is a blowout for San Francisco.
I hate to say it, I agree. Blowout. I think 2.5 points is very, very, very generous of a spread. Next up, we got the Los Angeles Chargers on the road against the Tennessee Titans. Chargers -9.5. Jake.
I'm gonna take the Chargers. I'll say it's not by 9.5 though. Tennessee really bad. They're god awful. The coach is already gone. Cam Ward, who I don't think he's all that great. I thought that was reach, but he's being left to die out there. He has nobody to throw to. He's got no protection. The defense isn't horrible, but the offense is on the field for 7 seconds at a time, so they're exhausted. Chargers also have a bunch of injuries on the offensive line. They can't really run the ball. because of how many injuries they had. They all looked good last week. Granted, wasn't against a very good team.
Yep.
But I'll say the Chargers win by like 7 or 8. I'll say Tennessee. I'll take the points for the Titans, but Chargers still win.
Okay. Kev?
I think that's being generous, that 9.5-point spread. I think Chargers win easily cover. I think Chargers should win by probably, 24 points if I had to put an exact number on it. But the Chargers, I feel like they're a much better put team. And like you said, Titans are garbage. Like I said, like the past couple of episodes, I think the Titans are the worst team in the NFL right now. I know people like to say Jets, but at least the Jets have some talent. That like Garrett Wilson looks good. Brees Hall's looked decent for the most part. Quinnen Williams, I think, is a good player. But Titans have no talent on that team. I'm sorry. Like, they just are disintegrating at the worst time with the Callahan coaching firing. And I think they're going to have guys in their secondary hurt, too. I know Xavier Woods is going to be hurt for that game, too. And I think Calvin Ridley's going to be injured, too. So, like, where are you throwing the ball to at that point? Like, Okonkwo, DK? Like, who are you throwing it to? So, like, Chargers should easily win.
When you're picking up a Titans receiver in fantasy, God bless you. Jake, John.
This is a question for me. Give me the Chargers.
No question at all, 9.5 easily for me as well. Next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons at the New England Patriots. Patriots -5. It went down a little bit from 5.5 to 5. Jake?
I'm going to take New England to cover. They're playing really well. Drake May's playing out of his mind right now. I'm still not sold this team as a true contender, but they're playing good football right now. The running game leaves a lot to be desired, but overall they've played well defensively. Drake May's been balling out. Atlanta, this very weird team. You beat the Bills in prime time, and then you lose 30-0 to Carolina. You lose 34-10 to Miami. It's very, very weird. They're not great. Looks like they'll get Michael Penix back, which will help, as well as Drake London. That will help. Obviously, you have Bijan there, but defensively, they're still not great. Raheem Morris is just a dreadful head coach. I'll take New England. Maybe not win by 21, but they'll cover the 5.
Okay, Kev.
This is kind of a tricky game for me to pick the spread on. Like, I think the obvious pick is the Patriots, right? Or like the Falcons. They've had games this year where they've looked like they've had flashes of like greatness. And like if Bijan has a good game, and like might I suggest this might be a trap game for New England? Because if Kirk Cousins is coming back, like if he's going to have a ball out in a game, I'll maybe like when Joe Flacco had that big game against the Steelers, like with the Bengals, like I could see a similar case with Kirk Cousins against the Patriots. And I know the Falcons defense is like decent. It's not too bad. It's actually like pretty decent, if I would say. But Patriots in Foxborough, I think that they should win this. But I'll say the Falcons make it close. I'll say the Patriots win, but they don't cover.
Okay, John.
The Falcons are very bipolar, and you got Bijan Robinson, and you have Raheem Morris calling a drop back pass play when it's 4th and inches, and that just drives me bonkers. So I trust the Patriots. I trust their coach. I think they win by 7 or more.
I can see this Patriots team winning by a touchdown. I think they cover. Next up, we got the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Heinz Field. Colts by 3.5, Jake.
I'm going to take Indianapolis by 3.
So they just don't cover.
Yeah, they just come up short. This is a really interesting game. Colts have been playing out of their mind. They're 7-1. Daniel Jones looks reborn. Crazy what happens when you put a good offensive line in front of a quarterback.
Yep.
But he's playing well, whether it's him or the surroundings. He's playing well. They're winning football games. They've been solid defensively. Jonathan Taylor is my MVP pick right now.
I agree.
With Pittsburgh's weird. I mean, I think we all know they're gonna sneak to the playoffs and get the belt beat off them in the first round. They do this every year. But Aaron Rodgers has actually played some good football. He's actually played well, but just they can't run the ball. There's one weapon there. That defense, they're the most expensive defense in the league. It's not money well spent. I'll say it's a very close game. I'll say Indianapolis by 3.
Okay, Kev.
Yeah, again, another tricky one. I mean, like, I think Colts should be winning this, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers made it a close game here as well. Their defense has looked okay for the most part. I mean, like, Aaron Rodgers has played fine so far in the black and yellow in Pittsburgh. But the Steelers, I think they make things interesting because with the Colts, I mean, like, I think I agree. I'm in agreement with Jake. Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in the league. It's not even close. Like, he is amazing. And, like, even if the Steelers have a game plan to try to contain him, you still have guys, like, that you have to worry about, like Tyler Warren, who's out an outstanding rookie season as a tight end. You have Michael Pittman, who I think is an underrated receiver. He's been really, really good as a main weapon for Daniel Jones. And like Jake said, I think Daniel Jones is, like, revitalized with, like, this new a team, this new playbook and scheme. I think the Colts O-line has been really good. I think that they've been undermentioned because the blocking that Jonathan Taylor gets is making him the MVP candidate in the forefront right now because of how good the offensive line blocks for him. The defense also has been really good. Everything is just meshing well together with this Indianapolis Colts team. But I do see the Steelers making it close. Colts, I think, cover, but I think they win by just 1 touchdown. I don't think it's a 2-touchdown possession game.
Yeah, the Colts offensive line has been good for a long time. John?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more simple than people think. As Jake said, it's the most expensive defense in the league, and they haven't actually done much with it. I like the Colts here.
I'm going to go with the Colts as well. I think this is going to be a 4-point victory. All right, next up, this is a shocker spread. The Broncos at the Houston Texans. Houston minus 2.5 at home. Jake?
I'm going to take Denver outright. Little surprised Houston's favored. Remind me, is that game in Denver or is it in Houston?
It's in Houston.
All right, so if it was in Denver, I would be a little bit more sure. Denver's a tough place to play. It's in Houston. Houston looked good last week against the Niners, but I'm going to take Denver. That team's really good. Bo Nix is playing well. That defense is, to me, the best in football. I'll take Denver.
All right, John, I'm going to come to you on this one. You gave me a little hand signal.
So it's important before we start doing takes on this. Denver is missing 2 key pieces. They are without their number 1 cornerback, and they are without Mims.
Yeah, they're without Mims and no Pat Surtain. No.
So if that makes you change your mind, I would change your mind now.
I'll stick with Denver.
All right, Kev.
Yeah, I heard about that injury to PS2, and that's going to be a big piece that they're going to be missing in that game. Which leads me to believe that the Texans are going to be facing the backup of Patrick Surtain in that sense, in terms of passing the ball. So I can see why the spread is as low as it is. But I do still think Denver should be able to win this game. I don't know how good or bad Houston Texans' run defense is, but I do expect J.K. Dobbins to have a pretty good game too. So I'll say Broncos win outright.
All right, John, I think I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
No, I like the Broncos.
Okay. I'm taking the Broncos as well. You just teased me so bad, John. Next up, we're going to go to the 4:00 games. Let me just pull this up really quick. All right. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Las Vegas Raiders. Jaguars minus 2.5 on the road. Jake?
Wow, that's a doozy of a game. I will take Jacksonville to cover. I don't think either team is good. The Raiders are really bad. Jacksonville, they're at 4-3 or 4-4, whatever.
4-3, yeah.
They're at 4-3. I didn't expect a lot from them going into the season. They started off really well, but their last couple of games didn't look good. But I know there's trade rumors with Brian Thomas. Looks like that's not going to come to fruition now. But the Raiders are really bad. They're getting Brock Bowers back, which is going to be very helpful.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of weapons over there, but that's a really bad team. Can't really stop anybody. The offensive line isn't good. That's why Ashton Gentry hasn't been as productive. Wish I had known that before I drafted him in fantasy in 2 leagues. That's okay. He hasn't been terrible. It's not one of the 10 best players in fantasy. But I will take Jacksonville. Just they're the lesser of 2 teams. I just don't think are very good.
All right, Kev.
Yeah, I'm going to take Jacksonville as well, probably by a touchdown. Now with the Raiders, I don't know if they've are going to activate Tyler Lockett yet because I know they traded for him.
Right, they traded for him, yeah.
Titans. So Lockett is going to reunite with both Geno Smith and Pete Carroll, who he was playing in Seattle with. So immediately Geno Smith has a familiar teammate to throw the ball to. So I don't know if they're going to utilize him in that game or not. Either way, I still think that Jacksonville should be winning this game by a touchdown. But if Lockett plays, I'm keeping an eye on him and see like how him and Geno connect.
That should be an interesting storyline, John.
I think this might be a breakout game for Brian Thomas Jr., who hasn't done a whole lot this season. Give me the Jags. Give me the Jaguars.
I'm taking Jacksonville easily -2.5. All right, these next 4 games, we got to go pretty quickly. We got to get to Fresh Fire Fried. John has been waiting a while for this one. So we got the Saints at the Rams. Rams -14. Jake.
I'm going to take the Rams to cover. I think Tyler Shuck is utterly awful. We all know how bad the Saints are. The Rams are a good team. I'll take them to win by a lot.
Okay, Kev.
Saints are trash. Even Alvin Kamara has fallen off. Rams by 17.
John.
Too many points, man. Too many points. Give me the Saints.
No.
Wow.
You know what? Screw it. April Fool's early. I'm taking the Saints on the spread wise.
It's a big spread.
That 14 points is a big spread.
A lot in the NFL.
Keep in mind, they were a 15.5-point underdog to the Bills earlier in the year in Buffalo, and they covered that.
You never know. I don't hate to take it. That's a big spread in the NFL.
14 points is a lot. All right, next up, we're going to get to the game of the week. We got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Chiefs -2. Jake.
I'm going to take the Chiefs. The Bills have beaten them in the regular season every single year, the last few years. But, obviously in the playoffs, the things end differently. But I'm going to take the Chiefs. They're playing really well. Mahomes is balling out. I know Pacheco's out, but he hasn't really been productive anyway. Another week with Rashee Rice is going to be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills, the receiving corps just doesn't have enough. Defensively, they haven't been great. I think high-scoring game could be a game of the year candidate. It has that kind of feel.
It does.
I'll take the Chiefs in just probably a relatively high-scoring game.
All right, Kev, we got to go quick. We got to get to First Round of Friday.
Every time we see these two teams match up against each other, whenever the case may be, it's always absolute cinema. And I think Jake hit it on the head. Adding Rice, who just came back off a suspension, I think he's going to revitalize this Chiefs team. But with the Bills, I know Dalton Kincaid is good to go too, so we could get a lot of targets. I'm going to say Bills win this by 3 points.
All right, John.
The one thing that the Bills can't defend is the run, and the one thing that the Chiefs can't do is run. Give me the Bills.
I'll take Buffalo as well, +2. All right, we're down to less than 12 minutes. We got to get going. Seahawks, Commanders. No Jaden Daniels. Seahawks -3. Jake.
I am going to take Seattle. I do think Jaden might play in the game, but Terry McLaurin, I do not believe is going to play in the game. That's going to be tough. The rest of that receiving core isn't great. Debo looks utterly washed. Seattle's a better team. Give me the Seahawks.
Kev.
Seahawks by 10.
John.
This might have the potential to be a monsoon with the aftermath of Melissa heading towards the eastern seaboard. So weather might play a factor. And if that's the case, give me the 1-2 combo of K9 and Charbonnet. So give me the Seahawks.
I'll take Seattle as well on this one. All right, last but certainly not least, we got the Arizona Cardinals at the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry's World. Cowboys -3. Jake.
I'm going to take Dallas. I mean, both teams aren't very good. Arizona sucks. People tried to tell me they were going to win the divisional offseason. I told you, no, they're not, and they're not going to. Dallas, they can score a lot of points. They can't stop at a yield sign, but they could. They can score. The Arizona defense is It's going to be Jacoby Brissett starting in. Apparently, Kyler might play a role. I don't even know what that means. Maybe
I don't know what that means either.
But it's going to be Brissett to start the game. I think Dallas. This is one of those. I think whoever is going to outscore, it's going to be a shootout. I trust Dallas more in a shootout than I do Arizona. So give me the Cowboys.
Amen. I agree 100%, Kev.
Yeah, Cowboys should win and cover easily with Jacoby Brissett starting. So as much as it pains me to say it, yeah, give me the Cowboys.
I hate the Cowboys, but Arizona's been such a disappointment, John.
They're playing midgets on that Dallas D. I don't trust them at all. I won't trust them until the defense actually starts stepping up. So give me Arizona.
Damn. I'm taking the Cowboys. All right. So for those of you who don't know, the Browns, Jets, Eagles, and Bucks are on a bye, and that will conclude the fresh spreads for Week 9. But to conclude the show, we gotta get into my favorite segment on the show. It's time for Fresh 5 or 5. This is my favorite segment of the show. One of us gets to take. We get usually 2.5 minutes, but for this one it's special because it's John. He will get 5 minutes to say whatever's on his mind, and at the end of his 5 minutes, we will rate him on a scale fresh, fine, or fried. Fresh meaning a good take, fine meaning an okay take, and fried meaning, dude, what are you talking about? John, 5 minutes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Go.
So let me take you down the rabbit hole that I went this week. It wasn't a rabbit hole. It was an Alice in Wonderland hole because it went deep. One of the things that I was thinking about was with the trade deadline coming up on Tuesday, I was trying to figure out buyers and sellers. And one of the things that I started looking at was the Cleveland Browns. And I'm like, who can the Browns sell? I'm like, oh, David Njoku. They got a really good tight end. This is his last year on his contract. Maybe somebody could go out and get a decent, top 8 tight end with David Njoku. And, in the great words of Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. David Njoku is on the list of Cleveland Browns players that have a void year in 2026. And a void year is where you sign a player to a contract, they play for you for 3 years, but you're paying them for 4 or 5. So David Njoku has a void year next year. He's one of 10 players who have 2026 void years for the Browns.
Wow.
Let me start off with Wyatt Teller and Joe Bitonio, who are their starting offensive guards. Wyatt Teller is owed $19,568,000 to not play for the Cleveland Browns next year.
Wow.
Joe Bitonio is owed $23,005,004 to not play for the Cleveland Browns next year. You add David Njoku, who's owed $24,331 to not play for the Cleveland Browns next year. You can see where this is trending. Then you add Ethan Posick, Jack Conklin, Jordan Hicks, Shelby Harris, Tevon Jenkins, and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. You get to a total of a 2026 void year number of $95,795,196.
Jeez.
You add that to a one horror awful most worst trade in the NFL league ever, and you get Deshaun Watson, who is still going to be owed $46 million this year and $46 million for 2026.
Oh my God.
And the Browns have to pay him through 2030.
2 minutes.
Jeez.
So they're already projected to be $37,034,973 over the cap next year, leaving them $0 to pay any of the players that they draft in April next year, which means they're going to be sellers of a lot of dead cap weight as much as they can, as fast as they can. And I don't understand why we're not talking about firing the Cleveland Browns GM and head coach at this point, even though it's being overshadowed by the Dolphins right now. That entire franchise is a dumpster fire. They are doing what happened in Germany before Hitler took over, where they're taking money out of their pocket and throwing it in the fire just to stay warm this winter.
1 minute.
At this point, You know, I love the idea of the Premier League where you can bring teams up and down. The last two place teams go down, and the first two place
Oh my
teams of
God.
the league below them move up. The Browns at this point would be relegated to worse than the Pac-12 as far as I'm concerned, with what they're doing on their management side. And how they're financially destroying this team. And that's not to mention the fact that I read right before I got on here that the season ticket holders, the prices are going to triple, and you're, as a season ticket holder, you're going to have to pay $800 for parking next year. That's it. That's all I got.
Oh my God.
How
Jake
much?
Fresh Fine and Fried.
That was fresh, man. That was a lot of fun to listen to. Browns are a dumpster fire. I agree. Trade everybody. Njoku, frickin' Batonio, Wyatt Teller, blow this whole thing up. But I saw Myles Garrett throwing a hissy fit on the sideline.
Yeah, he did.
When he signed that deal, what did he expect?
Exactly.
Did he expect this to change? They drafted Shador Sanders.
I didn't even mention Shador.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's not even a point that he's so irrelevant. But what did that guy expect? Your quarterback is Dylan Gabriel. The guy can't throw 4 yards.
He can't see 4 yards.
Zach Wilson 2.0.
He was 5'3". I don't care what they list him at. That's nowhere.
Maybe if they get rid of those offensive guards, they'll save some money, and Gabriel can see over them.
See, that's true. But yeah, and Andrew Berry, but yeah, he's got to go. If Stefanski, I don't think he's a bad coach, but at this point, I don't know what else you're going to get out of him. You might as well just start fresh at this point. Also, if I was Kevin Stefanski, I would just quit. I'd be like, I'm not.
Get out of there.
I'm done. I'll be a quarterback's coach for the freaking Raiders at this point.
When I was thinking this through, and I was thinking about Stefanski, I don't like him. I don't like him as a coach. But remember that scene from Draft Day where the coach is like, "Just give me my team." I'm like, that's Kevin Stefanski. That guy right there is Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's funny because that's the Browns. All right, we're gonna go over 2 hours, and I'm totally fine with it at this point. Kevin, Fresh Founder Fred.
It's as fresh as a daisy, man. I mean, I already knew that like Browns had a financial situation, but I didn't know about all the void years and the void money that they have to completely eat up with it. That's just bad. That is terrible, financial management, to the highest degree. And we talk about Deshaun Watson. My God, that was such a bad contract. It's completely not panned out at all. And I thought that the worst trade of all time was that DeAndre Hopkins trade when they traded for a third string running back at the time when he was at his peak.
Oh my God.
I thought that was one of the worst trades. But Deshaun Watson, it's completely fallen off a cliff. And then you had his drama, allegations, and all that on top of that. And now the financials, you're gonna have to be paying that man all that time. And you have to trade everybody away at this point. Trade Njoku, maybe Jerry Jeudy, and I can understand why Myles Garrett, why he wanted to be traded. I understand they gave you a bag, but they might have to get rid of him if they want to have any sort of money to pay their players, because that's insanely bad financial management. So I definitely 1000% agree that the Browns are the worst run organization ever.
Okay, Fresh. You might as well just play Call of Duty, go to the Browns organization, call in an AC 130, and just blow everything up. That's literally what you need to do, because it's just bad. And there's one person that's mostly responsible for this. It's not their general manager. It's not even their head coach. It's their owner, Jimmy Emmer effing Haslam, has run this organization into the ground. Not just from a financial standpoint, not just from a coaching standpoint, not just from starting 69 different quarterbacks, but it's literally just a big mess. They're not relevant. They don't do well. Fans don't want to show up to games. It's a disaster.
Absolutely.
1,000% fresh.
Do you guys remember that movie Rounders?
I think I do.
I've not seen
It's a poker money with Matt Damon. It's one of my favorite movies. And one of the main characters, the antagonist, is John Malkovich, and he plays a Russian poker player. Plays a great role. But when I picture the Browns franchise, I picture John Malkovich's face on a Browns colored uniform, and
God.
all it says is "Pay that man his money."
Dear God. All right. This was fun. We're over 2 hours, but this was so worth it. All right. We got to give a shout out to our partner of Foursquare Sports. This is partnered up by MyCamp Solutions and Octagon Payments. MyCamp Solutions and Octagon Payments is a wholesale credit card company located in 10th, Arizona. And if you want good customer service and a good credit card service without signing a long-term contract, take a listen.
Hey, I'm Matt Sirianni, and I'm a quarter of Foursquare Sports. And if you don't know me by now, I'm all about Octagon Payments and MyCamp Solutions. MyCamp Solutions is the only wholesale credit card company that will give you amazing processing rates without signing a long-term contract. And along with outstanding customer service, this company is a betting favorite against anyone you put in front of them. So sign up today. Go to www.mycampsolutions.com or www.octagonpayments.com and apply now. MyCamp Solutions. It's a first-round knockout.
All right, we got to get into an update really quick before we actually end the show. Bo Bichette just hit a 3-run home run. The Blue Jays are up 3-0 in the third inning against the Dodgers in Game 7 of the World Series.
Let's go.
That was, and by the way, I looked at the bar right now. That was absolutely positively crushed. So that's the way we're going to end the show. And actually, one last little thing. That Superman punch, eat your heart out, Roman Reigns. That's all I got to say.
Hey, at least you showed up.
All right. Anyways, this was awesome. We're over 2 hours, but that's easily fine. From Trent's Alex Colwich, Jake Cardinale, Jon Welch, I'm Matt Sirianni. God bless you all for watching this episode of Foursquare Sports today. We will be on next week. As you all know, I do the show whenever I can through any means necessary. And yes, I don't have to dress up as Shrek for a fourth time. And honestly, Shrek the third, I think, was enough for me. I hate Shrek Forever After to begin with.
Put some boots next year.
It depends if I can get a female kitten to come with me, but we'll have to see about
No,
that.
you just need to talk like Antonio Banderas.
I'll figure things out. Anyways, God bless you all. Have a good night. Enjoy the World Series. God bless you all. Have a good one.
Hi, everybody. Christopher Mad Dog Russo here. And you know what I do? Foursquare Sports on Sunday nights, 6 to 8, with all those parts of the country taken care of. Listen all the time. You got it. Mad Dog on Mad Dog Unleashed. Listen to my guys. Listen to my guys.